Hello, this is Jeff at Magical Fruit Toots. In this Photoshop tutorial, we will stylize a map of Topeka, Kansas. We will use the gradient and outline style. If you have not yet done so, you should view the Photoshop Map Art Basics tutorial on this channel for instructions on how to make the basic map and to export it to the Photoshop PSD file. First, you should create a basic Topeka map using the open source TileMill program and Mapzen.com Metro Extracts feature to retrieve the map data as necessary. For Topeka, I used Mapzen Metro Extracts to get the Topeka, Kansas, USA locality extract. Then I downloaded and uncompressed the OSM2 PGSQL shapefile provided. Notice that when you downloaded the metro area in Mapzen, that Topeka is on the far left side of the area to be downloaded. If you have a problem displaying Topeka in TileMill, see the example at the end of the Photoshop Map Art tutorial on this channel. To make it easier for you, I have placed the Carto CSS code for the Topeka basic map in the description area for this tutorial. Make these changes to the basic map code if needed. Large roads, change the line width to 1. Small roads, change the line width to 1. Airport runways, change the line width to 1. And rivers, change the line width to 1. Press Save. Open up the Topeka Begin Photoshop file. You may want to crop your image for easy framing. The Topeka image is essentially square. Open your crop tool set to square with a 1:1 ratio and adjust the crop so the map is centered in the area. Make sure to leave room on the bottom for the city name text. Click the big check mark to accept. Rename the Layer 1 layer to City. Make a new layer below the city layer by holding down the Control or Command key while clicking the Add New Layer icon on the bottom of the Layers panel. Name the layer Land. Save the file as Topeka Begin 2. Then immediately save again as Topeka 1. Now if you need to go back, you can always go back to the Topeka Begin 2 file. With the land layer active, change the foreground color to number 3E9 3CA. Press Alt or Option plus Backspace to fill the land layer with a color to make the city stand out better against it. This map is not meant to be accurate, but an artistic representation. So next we will simplify the city shape. Make the city layer active. Turn the eyes of the street and the water layers off. Open up a standard hard brush. Alt or Option click the city yellow to get the color. Start simplifying as demonstrated. Fill in areas mostly surrounded by the city proper. These areas are usually unincorporated areas that are not officially part of the city, but are contained mostly within it. Here is the result after these changes. Next, add a mask to the city layer. Use a black brush in the mask to remove any little jutty city boundaries and areas outside of the city proper that you don't want. Or you could use the Marquee tool to select areas, then press Alt or Option plus Backspace to remove the selection, followed by a deselect. The city shape should look something like this when you're finished. With the mask selected, right-click and choose Apply Layer Mask. Next, to simplify and touch up the water layer, make the water layer active. Turn on its eye. Right-click and rasterize it. Open the brush tool. Alt-click the river blue to make it the foreground color. Open the Magic Wand tool. Click inside the river area. Press Alt or Option plus Backspace to fill it with the foreground color. Deselect. Move back to the brush tool. Control or Command click the water thumbnail. Choose Select, Modify, Smooth. Set to 24 pixels. Press Alt or Option plus Backspace to fill the modified selection with the watercolor. Now add a layer mask. You should end up with a smooth, simplified river. Move to the water layer mask. Right-click and apply layer mask. With the water layer active, Control or Command click the city thumbnail. Inverse the selection. Hold down Alt or Option while selecting the Add Mask icon. Now only the river inside the city is shown. Choose the water mask and paint with black to remove water from the outside of the city. When satisfied, right-click and apply layer mask. Change the foreground color to 7EC 3E3. Control or Command click the water thumbnail. Press Alt or Option plus Backspace to fill the selection with the new watercolor. Make the streets layer active and turn on its eye. Right-click and rasterize the street layer. Control or Command click the thumbnail. Since your background color is white, press Command or Control plus Delete to fill the streets with white. Deselect. Control-click the city thumbnail to select the city area. Inverse the selection to select the area outside the city. Hold down the Alt or Option key and select the Add Layer Mask icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. Now the City Streets layer has only the streets inside the city showing. Right-click the layer mask and choose Apply Layer Mask. Now that all our map parts are in place, we will style them one at a time. First, the land. Make the land layer active. Turn off the eyes of the streets, water, and city. Change the foreground color to number 579, 5B8, and the background color to number 326, F9B. Add a gradient overlay layer style. Blend mode normal. Use a foreground to background gradient style. Style radial. Angle minus 60 degrees. Scale 150 degrees. Next, to style the city, turn on the eye of the city layer. Make the city layer active. Here is the city after adding layer styles. Change the foreground color to number F4D A6E and the background color to number 92711B. For the stroke layer style, I started with a white stroke around the outline. I use a size of 32 pixels. Position outside, color white. If you see round dots outside the outline, you can clean up with the eraser tool. For the gradient overlay, I used the foreground to background gradient. I adjusted the opacity to 80% so it wasn't too bright. I used an angle of minus 90 degrees, a style of radial, and set the scale to 120 degrees. For the drop shadow, I used an opacity of 74%, an angle of 120 degrees, distance 34 pixels, spread 45%, and size 77 pixels, with a half-round contour. Next, to style the water. Turn on the eye of the water layer. Make the water layer active. Here is the water layer after adding layer styles. I added an inner shadow layer style with a blend mode of multiply, an opacity of 74%. I used 74% for all shadows in this project. An angle of 120 degrees. I used 120 degrees for all shadow angles in this project. Distance, size, and choke. 4 pixels, or about 1/5 of the width of the river at its smallest spot. Contour linear. And anti-alias on. Now we will add layer styles to the streets. Make the streets layer active. Turn on its eye. Here is the street layer after adding layer styles. Press Ctrl or Command +1 to zoom to 100%. I added a stroke layer style. Size 1 pixel, position inside, and color white. I also added a drop shadow layer style. Blend mode multiply, angle 120 degrees, distance and size 3 pixels, or about 1/4 of the width of a small street. Spread 3%. Contour linear. Press Ctrl or Command +0 to fit the screen. Next we will add the text. With the top layer active, choose the Text tool. Choose your font. I used Gabrielle from the fonts. At 72 points, strong. Choose the Center Text option. Click the text color box and sample a light color from the city. Type in Topeka, Kansas between the city and the bottom of the canvas. Click the big check mark to accept. Double-click the text layer and open the character panel. If you don't have the character panel, choose Windows Character. Select the Tracking drop-down and select 75. Click the big check mark to accept. Right-click and rasterize type. Now we'll add layer styles to the text. Here's the text layer after adding layer styles. Choose the Zoom tool. Place the cursor over the text. Hold down the cursor until the text expands so you can see it better. Here's how I styled it. I added a stroke layer style, size 13 pixels, position outside, color white. I also added an inner shadow layer style, opacity 57%, angle 120 degrees. I also added a gradient overlay layer style. I made the foreground color number F4D A6E and the background color number 92711B. I then used the foreground to background gradient. Angle -90 degrees, scale 114%. Finally, I added a drop shadow layer style, opacity 74%, angle 120 degrees, distance 34 pixels, spread 45%, size 43 pixels, contour half round. Press Ctrl or Command +0 to fit to screen. To center the text as needed, select the Move tool. Use the up and down arrow keys to adjust the city text vertically. Press Ctrl or Command +A to select all. Click the Align Horizontal Centers in the Options ribbon. Choose the Hand tool to turn off the Move tool. Deselect. The drop shadow has created some shadows on the left and top edges of the image. To fix, select the Streets layer. Add a layer mask to it. Use a hard black brush about size 70. Paint a dot on the upper right-hand corner of the canvas as demonstrated. Now hold down Shift while painting a dot on the upper left corner. Finally, hold down Shift again while painting a dot on the bottom left corner. The problem shadows on the top and left side should be removed. Here is the final image. This concludes the tutorial. Coming soon, Wheaton, Illinois, using the wood texture style.